This week on Colts Up Close, training camp is 1 week away. We go in depth on what could be the best offense in the NFL. Tape study on the challenges Frank Gore won't face in Indianapolis. Stat projections for the Colts weapons and the top 5 most indispensable players in 2015. Plus players surprise season ticket members and fantasy football analysis for T.Y. Hilton. Welcome to Colts Up Close.
This is Colts Up Close.
Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Colts Up Close, our training camp preview for the Colts offense in 2015. I'm your host, Steve Andress. We begin with the rushing offense and the addition of free agent acquisition Frank Gore and what he will mean for the Colts offense this season. Suffice it to say, it might be a little easier for him in Indianapolis than it was in San Francisco, considering he won't have nearly as many defenders in the box.
Was the 8-man front fairly consistent for most of your career to this point?
My whole career I had 9-man front. I hope, now with the weapons and Andrew Luck, like one of the top quarterbacks in the league, hopefully, I think it should be a light box.
As much as anything, is that what kind of gets you going when you think about it?
Yeah, it should be fun, and I never saw a 6-man front. And, hopefully this year, it happened, and hopefully I can go out there and and take advantage of it.
Practice is hard every day. He doesn't take plays off, and he's a heck of a football player, and he's a smart football player. He knows what he's doing out there. Protections, and knowing when who's coming from where, reading the tilt of the safeties, the nickel, how he plays, body language. He's picked up on a bunch of stuff that guys that we've been here for 3 years and playing so hard. There's guys that haven't picked up on in practice. So I think he's a heady player.
No player had more rushes last year against 8 defenders in the box or more than Frank Gore, and it wasn't even close. That's the topic of this week's Speedway Scouting Report. Jim Sorgi and Kevin Bowen break down on the sharp whiteboard the opportunity Gore now has in the Colts offense.
Have the Colts found their bell cow running back, and is Frank Gore that guy? Jim, that's the question headed in 2015. The Colts brought him over in free agency, and at 32 years old, Frank Gore is still doing what he did for 10 years out in San Francisco, running against not very favorable matchups, something that he's probably going to see here in Indy.
Yeah, right here in San Francisco, playing with quarterback Colin Kaepernick, he wasn't going to get a whole lot of favorable boxes. They're going to run the ball. They knew they were going to run the ball. You see right here, end of the game against the Arizona Cardinals, 7 guys for the San Francisco 49ers to block 8 guys for the Arizona Cardinals. Not a favorable matchup right here for Frank Gore. They're going to give it to him off tackle right here. They're going to pull an offensive lineman to kind of come up here and seal the line and give Frank Gore just a chance to make the play. And he's going to make something virtually out of nothing right here. As you see the play develop, this guy's going to run. This offensive lineman is going to go run right by this linebacker and go block this guy. This guy has a chance to tackle Frank Gore. Scot-free, 2-3 yards into the backfield. But what you see Frank Gore, great vision, first of all, running behind his pads. You hear Anthony Costanzo say he runs behind his pads. He lets his pads lead him. He makes one cut, and he's gone. And he's so balanced in his running style that it's very hard to tackle one-on-one. And you're going to see it right here. As we kind of slow motion, this linebacker has no shot. He gets his arms around him, but that is not enough. Frank Gore is going to break that tackle. He's back up, vision, trying to find another lane. He's not going to get tackled by that arm tackle. He gets outside, and he's going to pick up 10, 12 yards and get you that first down at the end of the ball game when you need it to really finish off the ball game.
And Jim, this is a Week 17 matchup. There's plenty of tread on Frank Gore's tires. He ended the season 51 carries for 302 yards in the last 2 49ers games. Again, there's plenty of tread heading into that 11th season. And now we see a Week 16 matchup for the Colts, and this looks like, on paper, of an overhead shot, a pretty favorable running match.
Yeah, very favorable in my mind. You got a 2-high safety right here, so all you're going to have is a 6-man box. You're running the ball against a 6-man box, and you got 6 guys to block him right here. So Trent Richardson's going to get the ball, and it looks like we're going to have these guys blocked up pretty good as this play starts. As this play develops, Andrew's checking right there, bringing Dwayne back in the backfield. He gives it to Trent right here, and if we stop it right there, I mean, hat on a hat here, Both these guys right here, blocking, blocked right here, blocked here, blocked here. Find a lane. This guy's running out of here. Find a lane, make a cut, go get some tough yards, get a first down. And that's exactly, he's kind of pitter-patting right there. His running style, his pads are back. He's looking more like this instead of running, trying to find a lane with the one cut, and he's just not going to get it done. He gets bumped right there, and then by that time, if you're not running full speed, guys are going to catch you from behind, and that's exactly what the Dallas Cowboys do. But that's why I'm so excited about Frank Gore. I think he is the bell cow, first and second down. I think he's going to get those tough yards at the end of the game and finish off the game.
Plenty of favorable matchups coming Frank Gore's way in 2015.
We transition now to the Colts passing attack, and oh my goodness, all the weapons Andrew Luck has at his disposal in 2015. But first, for number 12, what specifically he wants to improve on in training camp and the season.
That touchdown to interception ratio, I think, has to be better. There's a couple that you can sort of chalk up to a tipped ball here or there, sort of no one's fault per se, but predominantly it was either just a bad decision or a bad miss, where it's behind a guy, gets tipped up, late over the middle, things of that nature.
Do you have to get to the point where it's okay to swallow the ball at times?
Yeah.
Instead of trying to force it, throw it away, take a sack or whatnot?
Yeah, I absolutely do think so. I think I've gotten better with that, especially understanding the situations that we're in the game. Whether it's, hey, this is a time where it's okay to force the ball, or no, hey, take a sack, let's let the best punter in football go out there and punt the ball away, or throw the ball away, let's live to play another down. I think of a couple, Tennessee Titans 2-minute drill before the end of the half. We're backed up. It's second down, maybe third down, and force the ball. Had no business being thrown there. We're up. We don't need to give them a chance to go into half scoring. So some things of that nature could help.
So that's what Luck is trying to improve on in 2015. Let's bring back our two analysts now to debate what the projections are for what could be the best offense in the NFL this year. Kevin Bowen and Jim Sorgi. And let's start with Andrew Luck. What are you projecting him at in terms of his stats for 2015?
Well, I think his numbers were inflated last year. He had over 4,700 yards, 40 touchdowns, 16 interceptions, which was up from his second year. But he threw the ball a lot. He threw the ball almost 620 times. He had a bunch of attempts. So I think he does still have a lot of weapons, but I think Frank Gore, the bell cow that I think he's going to be, I think those attempts come down a little bit. I think the yardage comes down a little bit. Not much. I think he's in the 4,300 yard range. And I think the touchdowns decrease a little bit. So I think, right over 30 touchdowns, 32, 33, something like that. But I think the interceptions go down as well. I think he goes from 16 interceptions right to single digits somewhere, 8, 9, and maybe even a little bit lower. So that's where I kind of see Andrew Luck. He's still going to be the guy you rely on when you need to get the job done. I just think with Frank Gore, his numbers are going to be a little bit lower, but it's not a bad thing.
Over or under that number, do you think?
I agree with a lot of those. I think touchdowns maybe in the higher 30s. I know he was 40 last year. He was 23 each of his first two seasons, so he took a big jump in year 3. The bigger things for me, Steve and Jim, is quarterback rating. He went from 76 as a rookie, 95 last year. He was mid-80s in that second season, so he's progressively gotten better in that category. And then it comes down to those situationals, third down, red zone. Those are going to be key to watch. Right.
All right, let's move on to the running back, Frank Gore. Kevin, where do you project him?
Yeah, Frank Gore has consistently been a 260 carry type guy, an 1,100 type guy out in San Francisco. The Colts don't need that here, and I don't think the Colts want to push him to that level in 2015. 32 years old. He showed last year plenty of tread on those tires, but I just don't think the Colts need to force him the football that much. 220 carries, 900 some yards, maybe 8 or 9 touchdowns. I think that would be a pretty solid season for what the Colts are looking for in finally having that bell cow back.
I agree with you, but I think he's going to get over 1,000 yards. I think we're going to have 1,000 yard back here for the first time since 2006. I think he's going to be your first and second down guy. And if he really is that, if we get him the 230 carries that he's looking at per season, if he averages 70 yards a game, he's going to get over that 1,000 yards. And I think his touchdowns will be right there in the 5-6 range, but he's going to get the ball at the end of games. I believe he's going to be the guy to finish games off. He'll get tough yards that way, but I still think he can get over that 1,000 yard mark. So I'm going to go a little bit higher than you, Kevin, but it all depends on how much he plays in that rotation that they use him in.
Another guy I think is even harder to project is Andre Johnson, the other new guy in free agent acquisition.
Andre Johnson, for me, he had 85 receptions last year. T.Y. Hilton had 82.
I think a lot of people forget that about Andre Johnson.
He was just under 1,000 yards at 936, 940, something like that. His problem is normally his career average of 13 yards per reception, only 11 last year. So I think he gets over 1,000 yards too. If he's right there around that 80, 85 reception mark, which is like 25, 30 receptions less than he had the last 2 years, I think he's going to get over his 1,000 yards. It's not going to be way over 1,000 yards, but I think he gets over his 1,000 yards, and I think his touchdowns go up just because he's going to be more of a red zone guy.
Yeah, I go a little bit lower on catches and touchdowns, maybe 75 for 900 yards, but I agree on the touchdown thing. And again, pretty good down year for Andre Johnson in 2014. Now he's got Andrew Luck throwing on the football.
What about T.Y.?
T.Y. Hilton, I'm going to go a little bit less than he had in 2014. Obviously a Pro Bowl year, 82 catches, over 1,300 yards. I just think with all the weapons, maybe down in the 75 catch range, maybe 1,200 yards for T.Y. I'll be interested to see if his touchdowns go up. That hasn't been a category that he's really been at a Pro Bowl level. Maybe he sniffs right around double-digit touchdowns in 2015.
Well, I do think his yards have to go down a little bit. 16.4 yards per reception last year. That's astronomical. I mean, he was making big play after big play after big play. So I think his receptions will be kind of the same. I think they'll share the load a little bit. I think his yards do go down a little bit, but not much. I think he's in the 1,200 yard range still.
Man, this offense is going to be fun to watch.
Should be scary.
I mean, if these are the numbers, my goodness. Still to come on Colts Up Close. These two guys debate who the top 5 most indispensable Colts are on the roster.